There is a power in this world greater than wealth, greater than position, greater even than knowledge. It is the power of one who moves without the noise of self-advertisement, whose will is felt more than it is heard, whose presence shapes the environment without the waste of needless display. This is silent power, and it is the rarest possession of the rarest minds. You will not find it in the restless, for the restless betray themselves with every word. You will not find it in the impulsive, for they surrender their advantage to their own emotions. You will not find it in the seekers of applause, for they trade their strength for recognition. Silent power belongs only to those who have mastered emotional detachment, forged the steel of mental discipline, and taken the throne of their inner world. Understand this: the man who cannot govern himself will be governed by others. The one who reacts without pause, who answers every provocation, who spends his energy in proving himself, is already under the control of forces outside himself. He may imagine himself free, but in truth he is like a marionette whose strings are pulled by circumstance, by opinion, by the unpredictable moods of those around him. The first law of silent power is emotional detachment. This does not mean the absence of feeling, it means the refusal to be ruled by feeling. It is the state in which your mind stands like an immovable fortress, unshaken by insult, untempted by flattery, unmoved by the minor storms of daily life. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. The masses live in the realm of reaction. A harsh word is met with a harsher reply. A slight offense is answered with open hostility. A praise is met with vanity. A criticism with defense. All this noise, all this motion, and yet no true movement toward anything of lasting value. The master of silent power has cut himself off from this endless chain. He chooses when to speak, when to move, and when to hold still. This choice is the root of all control. To respond is strength, to react is weakness. The difference between the two is a moment of awareness, the pause in which you ask yourself, does this serve my purpose? Does this advance my aim? Or is it merely the demand of the moment? In that pause lies the dividing line between those who shape the world and those who are shaped by it. The second law of silent power is mental discipline. Your mind is the command center of your life, but without discipline, it is like an army without a general full of potential, yet wasted in disorder. A disciplined mind does not wander aimlessly. It does not allow itself to be hijacked by every fleeting thought or passing distraction. It is trained to return again and again to the aim it has chosen. If you cannot command your attention, you cannot command your results. And if you cannot command your results, you cannot command respect. Discipline begins with the simple but demanding act of doing what you have decided, whether or not you feel like it. The world will never hand you the conditions you prefer. It will test you with noise, with temptation, with urgent demands that are not important. Discipline is the skill of holding your course in spite of all of it. The third law of silent power is mastery over the inner world. Every empire begins with self-rule. The man who conquers himself fears no rival, for no rival can reach inside him to break his will. The one who rules his inner world decides the quality of his thoughts, the direction of his focus, the atmosphere of his own mind. He builds peace within as others build fortresses without. And because this peace cannot be taken from him, he moves in the world with an unshakable confidence that others can sense but not quite name. Understand this clearly. Silent power is not passivity. It is not the surrender of action, but the perfection of it. It is the ability to wait without weakness, to move without warning, to speak only when speech will alter the field in your favor. It is patience armed with precision, restraint guided by strategy. The one who has mastered these laws does not waste energy proving himself in small battles. He chooses his battles, and because he chooses, he wins. His victories seem effortless to others because they do not see the long preparation, the inner work, the refusal to be baited into lesser contests. They do not see the hours of self-training, the deliberate shaping of thought, the sharpening of will. They see only the results and they call it luck. There is no luck here. There is only cause and effect. Silence, when combined with control, breeds mystery. Mystery breeds influence. Influence, when directed with discipline, breeds power. And when that power is used in harmony with a definite purpose, it becomes unstoppable. You must decide now whether you will remain among those who are drawn into every argument, every distraction, every fleeting demand for their attention, or whether you will ascend into the ranks of those whose focus is sovereign, whose energy is theirs alone to spend, whose presence carries weight without noise. The clock is running. The years you waste in reactivity will not return to you. The opportunities you forfeit in noise will not come again. The man who waits to master silent power until the moment he needs it will find himself without a weapon in the battle that matters most. So begin now. Govern your emotions as you would govern a restless city. Discipline your mind as a general disciplines an army. Guard your inner world as a king guards his throne. In this you will find a power that needs no boasting, no display, a power that is felt, respected, and obeyed long before a word is spoken. There is a power in this world greater than gold, greater than armies, greater than the fleeting applause of the crowd. It is the power of the one who moves without noise, whose will is felt more than spoken, whose presence bends the atmosphere of a room without a single raised voice. This is the power of the silent master, the man or woman who does not need to announce strength, because strength is self-evident in their calm, in their command, in their absolute control of themselves. The world does not hand this power to the restless, for the restless are too loud to hold it. It does not hand it to the easily provoked, for their enemies can rattle them with a word. It does not hand it to the seeker of constant approval, for such a person is owned by the opinions of others. This power belongs only to those who have disciplined their emotions until no insult can move them, forged their minds until no distraction can divert them, and taken the throne of their inner world so completely that nothing outside can shake their rule. Make no mistake, if you cannot govern yourself, you will be governed by others. And if you cannot govern your time, you will spend it in service to the purposes of others. The man who reacts to every provocation, who rises to every bait, who answers every small challenge, is already controlled by those clever enough to provoke, to bait, to challenge. He may think himself strong, but he is merely an instrument others know how to play. The masses live in constant reaction. Praise makes them reckless, criticism makes them defensive, flattery makes them careless, fear makes them hesitate. Their entire existence is spent answering the demands of the moment, which means they have no moment that is truly their own. The master of silent power has cut himself off from this slavery. He does not answer every call. He does not rise to every challenge. He chooses, and because he chooses, he controls. Control begins with emotional detachment, not the cold absence of feeling that is a weakness of another kind, but the ability to feel deeply and yet act deliberately. It is the skill of holding a moment in the palm of your mind without letting it shake your grip. It is the refusal to let your inner state be dictated by the outer world. You do not become a creature of circumstance. You remain the architect of response. The man who is detached still feels joy, still feels anger, still feels sorrow, but these emotions are not his masters. He may let them pass through him, but they do not seize the wheel, for he understands this truth. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. This command is not won in a single day. It is forged in the small choices, in the moments when insult tempts you to answer in kind, when flattery tempts you to lower your guard, when fear tempts you to abandon your plan. Each time you resist the pull, you add to your store of strength, until one day you find that the winds of other people's moods cannot shake you. From this foundation of detachment, you rise to the next level, mental discipline. Your mind is the seat of every decision you will ever make, the command center from which all actions flow. If it is left untrained, it will wander into chaos, led astray by every new idea, pulled off course by every glittering distraction. Without discipline, the mind is like an army without a general full of potential power, but scattered, unfocused, easily routed. A disciplined mind is a mind that has been taught to return again and again to the chosen aim. When temptation whispers, it returns to the aim. When fear shouts, it returns to the aim. When novelty invites it to abandon the plan, it returns to the aim. Every return strengthens the will. Every return builds the habit of focus. This discipline is not a matter of forcing yourself to work harder in bursts of effort. It is the daily, quiet habit of keeping the main thing the main thing. It is arranging your environment so that distractions do not constantly compete for your attention. It is creating rituals that begin and end your day with purpose, so that you do not drift into aimlessness. And above all, it is remembering that your time is the raw material of your life. Waste your time, and you waste your existence. Spend it carelessly, and you will find yourself with nothing to show but the memories of tasks that meant nothing. Discipline teaches you to spend each hour as an investor, spends capital only where the return justifies the risk. From here, we ascend to the mastery of the inner world, the most advanced form of self-rule. For what is an empire if the king cannot command his own court? What is wealth if the owner is a slave to anxiety? What is influence if the influencer is swayed by every shifting wind of opinion? The man who rules his inner world rules a territory that cannot be invaded, cannot be taxed, cannot be taken by force. The untrained give their inner world away freely. They hand their peace to strangers, their focus to petty distractions, their confidence to the approval of others. The master locks these treasures behind the gates of self-command, and only he decides when to open them. Because he rules within, he is free without. Because he is whole within, he cannot be made desperate by what is taken from without. And it is here that silent power is forged, in the ability to wait without weakness, to speak without waste, to move without warning. It is in the art of patience, armed with precision, restraint, guided by strategy. The master does not waste ammunition on every noise in the dark. He fires only when the target is certain and the victory assured. From this core, we will move without break into the timeless principles that have guided every great empire builder, every true leader, every man and woman who rose above the masses. We will pass through the law of mental neutrality, the power of calmness, the principle of thought first, the discipline of autosuggestion, the force of personal initiative, and beyond, until the architecture of silent power stands complete in your mind. Mental neutrality is the capacity to receive any event, any word, any appearance, without instantly stamping it with judgment. It is the state of mind that sees before it labels, that hears before it reacts, that understands before it decides. The average man has no such interval. He hears a tone in a voice and decides it is an insult. He sees a look in an eye and assumes it is a challenge. He witnesses an event and rushes to conclusions, speaking with all the confidence of ignorance. In doing so, he forfeits one of the greatest advantages a human mind can hold, the power to choose its meaning. The master of mental neutrality never surrenders that choice. When he is faced with a fact, he receives it without distortion. He does not dress it in fear or hope. He sees it as an island. Then, and only then, does he decide whether it advances his purpose or threatens it. Only then does he act. Why is this so powerful? Because life is not shaped by events. It is shaped by our interpretation of events. The same business loss that crushes one man can be the catalyst for another man's greatest invention. The same rejection that sends one into despair can ignite another into the most determined work of his life. The event itself has no fixed meaning, the mind gives it meaning. And the mind trained in neutrality is free to choose the meaning that serves it best. This is not indecision. This is strategic delay. The difference is that the neutral mind pauses, not because it cannot decide, but because it will not decide until the truth is clear and the angle of advantage revealed. In practice, mental neutrality feels like standing in the eye of a storm. The winds whip around you, debris flies past, noise fills the air, but in your center there is stillness. You see what is happening without being carried away by it. You can step in any direction you choose, but you will step only when the path is certain. This stillness is not weakness, it is preparation. It is the drawing back of the bow before the release of the arrow. It is the coiling of the spring before the leap. It is the deliberate conservation of energy until action will have its maximum effect. The mind that has mastered neutrality will not be manipulated by urgency. Others will shout, "We must act now," and the neutral mind will ask, "Must we?" Others will cry, "It's hopeless," and the neutral mind will answer, "Let us see." Others will rage, "They have wronged us," and the neutral mind will say, "Perhaps," or "Perhaps we have been given an advantage." Neutrality is the shield of the strategist. It prevents the enemy from pulling you into battles of their choosing. It prevents life's smaller disruptions from draining your focus. It keeps your mind clear enough to spot the opportunities hidden inside the difficulties that send others into panic. To live in this state requires emotional detachment, for without detachment you will be pulled into every wave of feeling that hits your shores. It requires mental discipline, for without discipline you will find your attention snatched by the noise of the moment. It requires inner mastery, for without mastery you will fall back into the reflexes of the masses. And yet, once learned, it becomes as natural as breathing. The neutral mind no longer has to force itself to pause. The pause is instinctive. The neutral mind no longer fights the pull of emotion. Emotion arrives and passes like a wave rolling to shore and returning to sea. The neutral mind no longer fears that a delay in reaction is a loss of control. It knows that in that delay lies the very essence of control. From here, we pass naturally into the power of calmness, for neutrality prepares the ground, but calmness is the fortress that stands upon it. Calmness is not merely the absence of visible agitation. It is the steady rhythm of a mind that refuses to be hurried, a will that refuses to be provoked into wasteful motion. It is the rare and unmistakable presence of one who does not answer to chaos, but makes chaos answer to him. The untrained man mistakes calmness for slowness, as if the calm are somehow lagging behind the pace of life. He does not understand that calmness is speed without noise, strength without tension, movement without waste. The calm man may act with great speed when he chooses, but he never confuses speed with panic. Calmness is the product of order within. When the inner world is disorganized, when thoughts clash, priorities blur, emotions dominate, the outer world feels urgent and threatening. But when the mind is in order, the outer world loses its power to unsettle. The calm man walks into the same storm that scatters the masses, yet his steps are unbroken, because the weather within him has not changed. There is a force in calmness that others cannot quite explain. In a crisis, the eyes of the room turn to the one who is still. His composure becomes an anchor for others adrift in their fear. His words, spoken without haste, carry more weight than the frantic shouting of the many. This is why calmness is not simply a private virtue. It is a form of influence. Calmness multiplies effectiveness. It sharpens judgment, for the calm mind sees the whole field while others see only the threat before them. It strengthens speech, for the calm voice is heard and remembered, while the loud voice is resisted and soon forgotten. It improves timing, for the calm do not act before the advantage appears, nor after it has passed. The source of calmness is twofold: detachment from outcome and trust in preparation. When you are not enslaved to a specific outcome, you cannot be thrown into desperation when events take a different turn. When you trust that your preparation has equipped you to adapt, you do not fear the unexpected. Detachment frees you from anxiety. Preparation frees you from hesitation. Calmness is contagious to the disciplined and irritating to the undisciplined. Those who thrive on urgency, who need the stimulation of constant crisis, will try to rattle the calm man to drag him into their tempo. They will call him cold, detached, arrogant. He must not answer their pace, for if he does, he is no longer calm, he is captured. In commerce, in war, in personal dealings, calmness is a weapon. It disarms opponents who expect you to meet their aggression with your own. It unsettles competitors who cannot read your state of mind. It wins allies who crave the stability you radiate. And most importantly, it keeps your mind clear so that every action you take is deliberate, every move you make is aligned with your purpose. The power of calmness is inseparable from the principle of thought first, to which we now turn. For calmness is not an end in itself. It is the condition in which thought can lead and impulse can be made to follow. Thought first is the discipline of placing the mind ahead of the hands, of ensuring that no motion is made before its direction is known, its cost weighed, and its effect considered. It is the art of making thought the architect and action the builder, never the other way around. The undisciplined man acts and then thinks. His days are filled with activity, yet his progress is slow. He hurries to answer calls, to respond to messages, to attend meetings, to do what others have decided for him, and in this ceaseless motion, he believes he is advancing. But the truth is this: movement without direction is not progress. It is drift. The master of thought first begins every action with the question, what result do I seek, and is this the highest use of my time to achieve it? He does not assume that activity equals accomplishment. He does not confuse urgency with importance. He acts only after thought has revealed that the path is worth the step. Why is this so vital? Because time is the one resource that cannot be replenished. A dollar lost can be earned again, but an hour spent on the wrong pursuit is gone forever. Thought first is the habit of guarding each hour as a jeweler guards a diamond, inspecting it from every angle before deciding how it will be set. Consider the craftsman. Before he touches the raw material, he studies it. Before he makes a cut, he measures twice. He knows that one hasty move can ruin hours of work, that one misjudged stroke can destroy what cannot be restored. The master of time and life approaches decisions in the same way. He plans in his mind before he moves in the world. There is a cause and effect law here. 1 minute of clear thinking before action can save 10 minutes of correction after action. 1 hour of thinking before action can save a year of wasted work. The 1% understand this law so deeply that they rarely move without first creating a mental blueprint of the outcome they desire. Thought first is not a call to paralysis. It is not endless deliberation. The one who thinks first knows exactly when to stop thinking and start moving, and when he moves with such precision that the work seems effortless to those watching. This is the paradox. What looks like instinct is, in fact, the product of countless acts of deliberate thought. The mind trained in this principle develops a reflex for clarity. At the first sign of a decision, it steps back to see the whole picture. At the first temptation to act impulsively, it pauses long enough to ask, is this action aligned with my definite purpose? Is it the best move I can make with the resources I hold right now? This reflex transforms leadership. A leader who acts without thinking is reckless. A leader who thinks without acting is paralyzed. But a leader who thinks first and acts next commands both respect and results. His decisions hold because they are grounded in reason, not in the mood of the moment. Thought first strips away the illusion of multitasking. It teaches you that focus is not doing many things quickly, but doing the right thing at the right time without dilution. It forces you to choose, and in choosing, to commit. This is why it is feared by the indecisive. It demands clarity, and clarity demands courage. And when the habit is fully formed, thought first becomes instantaneous. The mind runs its checks and calculations so swiftly that to the outside observer, it appears as if you simply know the right move. But you do not just know. You have trained the knowing through years of placing thought before action. From here, the path leads naturally into the discipline of autosuggestion, for once the mind leads, it must be fed with the right commands, so that its leadership remains true. Autosuggestion is the deliberate act of feeding your mind with the exact thoughts, images, and commands that will direct it toward your desired ends. It is the process by which you install your will into your subconscious, so that your actions, even those taken without conscious thought, align with your definite purpose. Every human being is under the influence of suggestion. The question is not whether you are influenced, but by whom. The majority live under the constant suggestion of the outer world. Advertising tells them what to desire, gossip tells them what to fear, opinion tells them what to believe, and habit tells them how to act. They are like ships steered by every current, never setting their own course. The master of autosuggestion understands that if he does not feed his own mind deliberately, the world will feed it for him, and the diet will be poison. Therefore, he takes control of the supply line. He decides which thoughts are allowed to enter, which words are repeated until they sink into the subconscious, which images are held until they shape his reality. This is no vague theory. The subconscious mind accepts all instructions without question, whether they are helpful or harmful. It cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood. It simply acts on what it is given. Feed it fear, and it will find reasons to retreat. Feed it courage, and it will find ways to advance. Feed it limitation, and it will build a prison. Feed it possibility, and it will build a ladder. The disciplined use of autosuggestion begins with clarity of aim. You must know exactly what you want, in terms so definite that it can be stated in a single, commanding sentence. Vague hopes produce vague results. Specific commands produce specific results. Once your aim is fixed, you frame it as a personal, positive statement of fact, as if it is already achieved. This is critical, for the subconscious works best when it believes it is executing something real and present. You do not say, I will be disciplined. You say, I am disciplined. My mind is my servant. You do not say, I will succeed. You say, I succeed because I think with precision and act with purpose. These statements must be repeated daily, not mechanically, but with feeling. Words without feeling are like seeds thrown on stone. They will not grow. The subconscious is moved by emotion. Attach conviction to your statements, and they will take root. The most powerful moments for autosuggestion are upon waking and before sleep. In these states, the conscious mind is relaxed and the subconscious is most receptive. Begin and end your day with the words that will shape it. Speak them aloud, write them down, see them in your mind's eye, feel their reality as if it were already yours. Understand this law. Your outer life will always follow the blueprint held in your inner life. If the blueprint is confused, the structure will be unstable. If the blueprint is precise, the structure will be sound. Autosuggestion is the act of redrawing that blueprint until it matches the life you intend to live. Through repeated suggestion, you will notice a shift. What once required conscious effort will begin to happen naturally. You will find yourself making decisions in harmony with your aim, without needing to think through every detail. Your subconscious will begin to recognize opportunities others overlook and will alert you to them. You will act with an ease that others will mistake for talent, but it will be the product of training. Once autosuggestion has fixed the aim in your mind, the next necessity is to give that aim life through personal initiative, for thought alone, however well directed, must be translated into action if it is to bear fruit. Personal initiative is the self-starting force of the disciplined mind. It is the refusal to wait for orders, permission, or perfect conditions before moving toward a definite aim. It is the recognition that no one is coming to save you, no one is coming to give you the exact moment to act, and that opportunity belongs to the one who creates it, not the one who waits for it. The undisciplined will wait until they are told. They will wait until the path is clear, until someone else takes the first step, until they feel completely ready, and because life rarely grants such perfection, they wait until their chance has rotted away. They console themselves with stories of bad luck, yet the truth is that fortune passed them by because they did not rise to meet her. The master of personal initiative knows that ideas are worthless without motion. He knows that action is not something that follows opportunity. Action is what creates opportunity. He understands the cause and effect relationship that Napoleon Hill expressed plainly. The person who acts first in a given situation and acts decisively has the advantage over the one who hesitates. But personal initiative is not reckless motion. It is not lunging forward without direction. It is action born of prior thought, of clear aim, of mental preparation. It is the deliberate strike of one who has seen the opening before others even notice it exists. Those who cultivate this principle develop a rare habit. They do not need to be told what must be done. They see it, they know it, and they begin. This makes them invaluable in any arena in business. They are the rainmakers. In leadership, they are the problem solvers. In personal life, they are the ones who turn visions into reality. Personal initiative thrives on self-reliance. The one who depends on others to start his engines will never outpace the one who fuels his own fire. This is why so few rise to the highest levels of success. It requires the courage to begin when the path is uncertain, the discipline to continue when progress is slow, and the resilience to finish when obstacles multiply. And make no mistake, initiative is a form of power. Those who act shape the environment for those who only react. Those who take the lead decide the terms for those who follow. Every major advance in history has been the work of someone who did not wait for the perfect time, but made the time perfect by acting in it. This principle demands that you stop measuring your worth by what you plan to do and begin measuring it by what you start. Your intentions are invisible to the world. Your actions are what speak. If you would be known as a leader, let your steps be seen before your words are heard. And there is another law hidden here. Initiative compounds. The more you act, the more resources, allies, and momentum you attract. Each completed action plants a seed that may grow into further opportunities. Each refusal to act plants nothing, and nothing grows from it. From here, we move naturally into the most advanced form of inner sovereignty, the mastery over emotion in all circumstances. For without that mastery, even initiative can be sabotaged by haste, fear, or vanity. Emotion is the most powerful force in the human system. It can make a man fight beyond his strength or surrender before the battle begins. It can push an idea into action or kill it before the first step is taken. It is a fire that can warm the house or burn it to the ground, and the difference lies entirely in control. The undisciplined person believes that emotions are irresistible, that they arrive like weather and must be endured until they pass. He is the plaything of his moods, the servant of his impulses, the puppet of whatever feeling strikes him at the moment. This is why he cannot be trusted with great responsibility, for no one can predict whether he will act with wisdom or recklessness when the pressure comes. The master knows a different truth. Emotions can be governed. They can be observed without being obeyed. They can be redirected like a river into channels that serve your purpose. The first act of mastery is awareness to notice the rising tide before it floods your judgment. This is the mental habit of stepping back even in the heat of feeling and asking, what is this emotion urging me to do, and will that action serve my aim? Consider anger. Unchecked, it leads to rash words, broken alliances, and costly mistakes. Mastered, it becomes fuel, a sharpened energy that can be poured into productive work, strategic moves, and unshakable resolve. Consider fear. Left to roam, it freezes initiative and magnifies danger. Trained, it becomes a signal, a light that tells you where preparation is needed, a warning to tighten your plan before proceeding. Even joy, if left uncontrolled, can become a trap leading to complacency, overconfidence, or careless spending of time and resources. But when guided, joy becomes strength, resilience, and the motivation to endure long trials without losing heart. The key is never to allow emotion to dictate the decision. Emotion may inform you, but thought must decide. Just as a skilled rider uses the strength of the horse without letting it bolt, so must you use the energy of emotion without surrendering the reins. This mastery is won through training, not wishful thinking. It is built in the small moments, pausing before you answer an insult, breathing before you commit to a course in a moment of excitement, restraining yourself from announcing a victory too soon. Each time you choose the command of thought over the command of feeling, you strengthen the invisible muscles of self-control. And here lies a cause and effect law. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your emotions, you gain the power to govern yourself and others. In leadership, mastery over emotion inspires trust. People follow the one whose composure does not crack under pressure. In negotiation, it wins advantage, for the calm mind sees the whole board, while the reactive mind sees only the last move. In personal ambition, it ensures that every action is aligned with the long game, not sacrificed to the mood of the moment. From here, we turn naturally into accurate thinking. For once emotion is mastered, the mind is clear enough to seek and hold to truth without being clouded by wish, fear, or prejudice. Accurate thinking is the ability to separate fact from mere opinion, truth from assumption, and the essential from the irrelevant. It is the skill of training the mind to accept nothing without proof, to question everything that influences your decisions, and to anchor every belief to evidence rather than emotion. The undisciplined mind is easily deceived, not only by others but by itself. It hears something repeated often enough and accepts it as truth. It sees something once and builds an entire theory around it. It confuses correlation with causation, hopes with certainties, and popularity with accuracy. Such a mind is a dangerous instrument, dangerous to its owner, most of all. The master of accurate thinking lives by a stricter code. He asks, what is the source of this information? Is it verified by fact or merely supported by opinion? Is it complete, or am I seeing only the part that confirms what I already want to believe? He refuses to let wishful thinking cloud his perception, and he rejects fear-based thinking just as firmly. Accurate thinking requires the humility to admit ignorance. The mind that believes it already knows will not seek truth, it will seek only confirmation. But the mind that says, I may be wrong. Let me find out, has already taken the first step toward clarity. This principle is not cold skepticism. It is disciplined inquiry. It does not mean doubting everything, but testing everything. It does not mean being cynical, but being precise. It is the same principle a jeweler uses when examining a gem. He does not assume it is genuine because it is beautiful. He subjects it to the tests that will reveal its true nature. In business, accurate thinking prevents costly mistakes made on the strength of unverified claims or faulty projections. In relationships, it prevents the misunderstandings that come from assuming motive instead of confirming it. In personal growth, it keeps you from chasing methods, mentors, or movements that sound impressive but yield no results. The cause and effect law here is simple. Right decisions depend on right facts. Wrong facts produce wrong decisions, no matter how intelligent the decision maker. Accurate thinking is inseparable from emotional control. Without emotional detachment, the mind will twist facts to justify feelings. Without mental discipline, it will be too lazy to verify what it believes. Without definiteness of purpose, it will not know which facts matter and which are irrelevant. The masters of this principle have a reputation for being unshakable. They are not swayed by gossip, not moved by sudden waves of optimism or pessimism in the market, not quick to join the crowd in its latest conviction. Their stability comes from the fact that they do not rely on the crowd's thinking at all. They build their own conclusions, brick by brick, on a foundation of verified truth. From accurate thinking, we come to the great integrating force of all these principles: definiteness of purpose, for without a fixed aim, accuracy, discipline, detachment, and control are like tools without a project. Definiteness of purpose is the unwavering clarity of what you want, and the relentless refusal to be diverted until it is obtained. It is the law that says no man can go far if he does not know precisely where he is going. It is the unbreakable center of the mind that holds true while every wind of distraction tries to turn it aside. The undirected man drifts, his days are filled with effort, but his life is without aim. He works hard, but the energy is scattered. He tries many things, but masters nothing. He is at the mercy of circumstance, and his direction changes with the latest event, the newest opportunity, the strongest opinion in the room. The master of definiteness of purpose has burned his aim into his mind so deeply that no circumstance can erase it. He does not ask, "Should I?" He asks only, "How shall I?" He does not waste energy chasing every passing interest. He selects his target, fixes it in his mind, and measures every decision against the single question: will this move me closer to my purpose or farther from it? This is the reason purpose is power. It organizes the mind. When the aim is clear, the subconscious works night and day to find the means. The emotions align with the aim. Enthusiasm fuels persistence, and fear becomes caution rather than paralysis. Accurate thinking focuses only on facts that matter to the aim, and mental discipline eliminates the temptations that do not. Definiteness of purpose is not a wish, it is a commitment. A wish says, "It would be nice." A purpose says, "It will be so." A wish waits for conditions to be right. A purpose makes conditions right. A wish fades when obstacles appear. A purpose grows sharper in the face of resistance. Fixing your purpose is not a casual act. It requires decision, the kind of decision from which there is no retreat. It requires the courage to close the door on lesser aims and the discipline to reject distractions disguised as opportunities. It requires the humility to admit when you have chosen wrongly and the strength to choose again without losing momentum. Once chosen, your purpose must be kept alive through constant focus. Write it, speak it, see it daily. Use auto-suggestion to feed it to your subconscious until it becomes a part of your very identity. Let every plan, every habit, every association be tested against it. Let no day end without some action taken in its service. For here is the unbreakable cause and effect law. If you devote yourself entirely to a definite purpose, the world will step aside for you or be crushed in your path. If you refuse to choose, the world will choose for you, and you will not like its choice. And so all the principles converge: emotional detachment to keep you free from being ruled by mood, mental discipline to sustain your focus, the law of mental neutrality to see clearly, the power of calmness to act deliberately, The principle of thought first to ensure wisdom precedes action, autosuggestion to condition your mind for victory, personal initiative to turn thought into movement, mastery over emotion to hold course under pressure, accurate thinking to keep your plans aligned with reality, definiteness of purpose to bind them all into a single unstoppable force. When these are made your own, you become a sovereign over yourself and a sovereign over your destiny. Your life ceases to be a series of reactions and becomes a deliberate creation. Your inner world becomes your fortress, your thoughts, your army, your discipline, your law, and your purpose, your crown. From this state, success is not a matter of luck nor the gift of others. It is the natural result of law obeyed, of principle applied, of the mind mastered. And so I leave you with this final truth, one that Napoleon Hill himself would speak to any man or woman ready for power. Control your mind, and you control your world. Master yourself, and you need not fear the mastery of others. Live by law within, and the laws of life will serve you without. The hour is late. The call is clear. Take possession of yourself before the world takes possession of you.